So Lloyd said you guys watched a lot of film on the loss. I just wondered what stood out to you in particular about that second half as far as what went wrong and how you guys can kind of fix it moving forward.
I think that especially we did a lot of good things in the first half. In the second half, our intensity went down a little bit, and they were the more physical team. And so that was the main difference in the game. So we, in order for us to win games and to have a successful season, we need to bring it for 48 minutes. We cannot allow ourselves to have any too many ups and downs during the game.
He mentioned that there was a little bit of kind of, I guess, randomness in the second half, and maybe you guys looking a little out of sync. Or he said that last night, rather. Did you see that too? Like, is it just a product of guys learning each other, or was it just maybe not the best decision making?
No, I agree, but I think it's a process. A lot of new guys and a different schedule, a different summer, a lot of things together that is gonna it's gonna take time to get the chemistry going. But we are working in the right way. We do a lot of good things. We just gotta do them for 48 minutes in every game. But I think that we made some step forwards.
Thank you.
Kevin Chenard.
Danilo, when you take the court with new point guards that you haven't played with before, Trae Young in games, and then last night Rajon Rondo, what are some of the things that you do to develop the chemistry with those point guards?
Well, we talk a lot. We say, I talk to Trent and Rajon. Rajon knows me better, of course, after playing against me for so many years. But we talk a lot, and we just, especially in practice, we see where I want the ball, what I like, what they like. And after we talk, we just got to do it in the game. And I think that that's something that is going to get better game by game. It can't just click in one game, and especially with Trey, we played some pick and rolls in the first game that didn't work that well, and then yesterday they were working perfect with the right spacing. So already some step forward.
Kevin, we'll go back to you.
Thank you. Did you get to talk to Melvin Hunt at all before you signed in Atlanta, or have you talked to him since? Is it good to have a familiar face here?
It's great to have Mel. We didn't talk right before or during free agency because I think I think it's against the rules. I'm not sure, but we didn't talk that much. But we always talk during the season. So we all these years that we haven't been together, we were always talking. We are very close to his family, he's close to mine. So we always been talking.
All right. Are there any additional questions for Gallo? And if not, and there do not appear to be any more, we will let you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
You heard the man. If you got anything for Cello, please go ahead to raise your hand, and we have one from Sarah, so we'll go ahead with her.
Hey, Solomon. In that second half, when things kind of started to go awry, when you're watching film on that, what stood out to you, and what did you notice about what you guys could have done better?
We don't want to make excuses, but there's a reality of the quick turnaround with this season. Being a team that is adding a lot more pieces than certain teams. I mean, we talk about the teams that we're playing in preseason. Memphis is able to bring back a majority of their guys. Orlando is able to bring back a majority of their guys. So it's a continuity that they have, and that's an advantage at this point in the league. Having a core group of guys that have found some type of success is definitely an advantage. And we have to be able to be comfortable communicating, also executing. I think what we did in the first half is is something that we look forward to. But we do understand that Memphis is a fast-paced team. They're almost a pass-first team, and they're the number one team as of last year in the paint, something that we want to learn how to guard. So we did watch a lot of film on execution, but we have to just get down to our habits. I think once we establish our habits, and like I said, we have a quick turnaround to do that, we'll be better off. But we saw really good signs from that first half, and that's what we look forward to.
Memphis has been a tough matchup for the Hawks the past few times they've played him. A lot of it seems to be Valanciunas and just how he can kind of bang down low. How do you kind of match them for that? The physicality that is required, and then also when they're shooting threes like that, what can you do to kind of limit them?
We have to take away something. Our goal is to take away the paint, but we allowed them to have 50 plus paint points, and then they shot 53s. That's a recipe for disaster no matter who you play. And we're still learning. We're still Clint. It's just like his first goal as far as being that center, JC being that defensive-minded guy that we need. Everybody's still learning. A lot of the guys that we have out there, other than Trey, are really still trying to find their role. We saw good signs from Dre, but it has to be a collective. We have to do it collectively on the defensive end, and we have to commit to something. It's one thing to give up 53s, but we limit them to 20-something paint points. That changes the game for Ja. If Ja can get in the middle and facilitate the way he did last game, it's going to be a problem. It's one thing to let Jonas have his way in the paint, but then we're making Ja play outside. But once he gets going, Ja gets going, you get Dylan Brooks, you get Kyle Anderson, all those guys hitting shots from the three. It doesn't matter what name is on their jersey. They're probably going to end up.
Is it almost good to not good, but is it almost good to get these mistakes on film in the preseason so that way you can at least, address it for when games start to count?
For sure. It's really huge and a beautiful thing that we get to play against a team that is number one in paint points and probably will be another top 3 team in paint points this year, because it's exactly what we want to guard. We're thinking Giannis Antetokounmpo driving down the lane and what he does by himself, getting in the middle. And it's really good to have this film and knowing that we play them soon too. Something that we can lean on. It'd be one thing to kind of have a couple W's that we kind of just, excuse my language, but half-ass play defense. We can get away with a win, but to go out and have a situation like that second half, it's really critical, especially when you're not allowed as much gym time as you're used to. Sometimes it has to be a mental day where you watch film and hope that the guys learn from that film session.
What have you learned in your time in the NBA? Lloyd mentioned last night that when shots weren't falling, like in the third quarter in particular, it then affected defense. What have you learned about the mindset you have to not let that happen?
It's tough, especially where you have it's comprised of 450 of the most talented players in the world. And what we've done to get here had a lot to do with scoring the basketball and playing defense, but mainly possibly the ability to score the ball is what led a lot of guys to get into the NBA. But it is the difference between understanding that we have something that we have to hang our hat on, and that's defense. Defense, you don't have it's no shots, it's no shot selection, it's no percentage, it's all effort. And once you provide that effort, we don't care about the other end. Offense is going to come. We're going to generate offense straight from our defense. There's a weird thing of being like you have to, in order to win NBA Finals, you have to be top 10 in offense and defense. But then that number jumps up to being a playoff team if you're top 10 defense. If you have a top 10 defense, you're going to be in the playoffs. It doesn't say the same thing about the offense. So that basically is the blueprint for what you want to do in the NBA is that you want to play defense. They say defense wins champions, and that still remains true.